Hi, I'm Michelle Lightworker. After over 20 years in the holistic and spiritual development industry, I'm sniffing out who's promoting high vibes all over the globe. We want to show you where you can find high vibes anytime, anywhere, every day.
So here we are with the filmmakers at 5DTV, Michelle and gorgeous Tammie, and there, here we go. Look, there's some questions at the self-discovery event. How does self-discovery evolve the consciousness of humanity? How do you do your own self-discovery, and what's the best self-discovery experience you've ever had? And how's the responses been, guys?
Amazing, yeah, so far.
Tearjerkers. We've just been crying.
Powerful business.
And they have too, so I've got plenty of bleary-eyed, red, cryy pictures after we've been interviewing people.
Gorgeous.
It's been fun.
Powerful business here at 5DTV. The team, the Lightworker team. That's good.
500s.
Yeah.
I love my job. Here I am at the Conscious Life Events Discovery Expo 2018, getting my spirit guide drawing on, sensory body art reading, looking around at the artwork and the yummy food and the magical surprises around every corner. And I think to myself, I'm about to embark on asking some really important questions that came through just the night before for this beautiful festival. The answers gave us a real insight into what discovery and self-discovery really means and how it can rock our world. The wonderful array of stallholders that we had at this festival was incredible. And we got an opportunity to speak to some of them, as well as some of the Expo's powerful speakers, and ask them those 3 magical questions. But first, let's hear from the delightful Laura de Mambro, the wonderful organiser of this high vibe gig.
Thank you again.
No, thank you.
I can keep thanking Laura.
Thank you. No, you don't need to thank me.
Yes, I do.
No, this is why I'm here. I'm here to do this. You don't need to.
Okay, you can thank me.
No, I did. I just
Oh,
said
did you?
thank you.
Yay! I'm going to let you.
Thank you for being here.
I'm going to role model.
Thank you for being our sponsor this time.
Thank you, beautiful. Oh, so enjoyed it. It's been such a joy, a redonkulous joy to do this. And
you meet so amazing people.
Oh yeah, and just as I said, we've been crying. It's
and a lot of the
way.
stand holders, Scott, Animal Publishing.
Yeah.
He does all the MBSs, and he said, Laura, I had the best day ever yesterday, and I thought he was just being nice because I know people are just not.
Yeah.
And
so good.
He said, no, honestly. Because sometimes it's not about like thousands and thousands of people coming in. It's the quality of people coming in.
Genuine
so
quality people
that
want
come
to
in here
be here and
are the right people.
Yeah, activate. Yeah. Not otherate. Activate, not otherate. You know, it's easy to otherate, but what I'm finding with the people that I've been dialoguing with is that really people want to own their self-discovery, which is exciting. Yeah.
So let's dive on in.
Self-discovery, it's about giving yourself a voice, it's about giving yourself the opportunity to be heard and doing everything in your power to get that message out there.
Pretty much our consciousness is really everything, and it doesn't matter what we do or how we behave, it's that the consciousness controls pretty much our behaviour and what we actually do. So from that, what we need to do is look into our consciousness, our own consciousness, and then connect with the universal oneness and treat others, treat the earth and treat ourselves as one with the universe, then pretty much I think we'll have it sorted.
When you face the healing that is needed in yourself, putting an end to all the stories that you've told yourselves over the years, putting an end to all the pain stories, all the hurt, all the abuse that has ever happened, and owning who you are in the present moment, facing your healing, owning who you are. When you do that, you step into the higher vibrations and the true essence of your own being, your own heart. And in doing that, you send out those energetic vibrations across the world.
If we can help ourselves with self-discovery, then we can help others with self-discovery, and then they can help others, and it evolves over time. So if we've got a self-discovery of of a gentleness and a wonderful feeling within ourselves, then we want to share that with other people. So that is how it evolves over time, and it escalates like a spider web.
As we get to know who we truly are, we kind of essentially step into our authenticity as beings. So I think it's a question of, as sovereign entities, waking up to what we truly are. So I sort of feel more and more the classic notion of the illusion I've found through astral experiences actually is the case. It's like, if you like, the mainstream is streaming programs at us that kind of flare our emotional bodies into reaction, and in a nutshell, I feel that kind of feeds the karmic experience. So I think waking up, recognizing that the whole notion of duality and the karmic experience is actually kind of dead in the water once you wake up to it, and recognizing a more lucid state of being.
Self-discovery helps evolve humanity because we are all evolving beings, and so by us lifting our vibrations, we lift the vibrations of humanity and the planet and the universe. So working together, working consciously is so important for all of us. And so when one of us lifts, we all lift.
It's all about feeling. It's not about thinking anymore. It's about going in and feeling everything. So, you know, closing your eyes and going, yeah, like, and pulsing it out to the other end of the galaxies, and then you can, and when you feel it and let go without any expectations, then magic happens. And when we all work on this individually and don't hold on to what other people are doing or expectations, and hold ourselves accountable, that's when we shift. And when everyone's doing this individually, then collectively we have a paradigm shift. It's like when yogis will meditate in one location, the area around, less crime, less everything. So when we're working on that, it happens.
Consciousness of humanity and through self-discovery, it actually comes a lot from being a really authentic person to yourself, and also to about rising the awareness of what goes on in life, but also with the people that are around you, because it's really easy for us to go in and think that life revolves around us, and it doesn't. So understanding and being mindful about everything that's around us, but it's all about authenticity to me, and really living the life that you were born to be.
Self-discovery by means of sharing in community and in nature is like the stone soup story. We kind of like work out who we are in our relatedness to ourselves through linking with nature and others, and discovery events are really good examples of that.
Through my healing work, I've discovered that our healing helps heal past generations and can also help future generations. So by our self-discovery, our self-consciousness, our discovering what we need to heal actually helps others. It's like a ripple effect.
The more discovery that we find out about who we are and what we want to do in life, the better life that we have for ourselves. And then if we connect to our soul, we can actually understand our true purpose of life for ourselves, because everyone's different. We've all got a different life purpose. And when we start tuning in and intuitively connect to ourselves and to our soul, then we know what we're meant to evolve to. When everyone's living their purpose, they're all living life in harmony and balance.
Well, when we start to look into self-discovery, as we evolve, it actually has a ripple effect. It has a ripple effect for our friends and our family, the planet, and we all begin to heal. As we heal our friends, we heal our families, we heal our communities, and we heal the earth.
Self-discovery is really discovering yourself, which for me is discovering who you are as a soul. Because the soul is like the consciousness of ourself, to know the love and just really be in tune with who we are in our essence, so that we can come from that place. And I believe that if more and more people on this earth could be attuned to their essence and coming from that place, then we'd find world peace. As we attune to our soul, that's connecting with an inner love which respects all other life that is around us, and there is life energy in not only humans but also animals, plants, the earth itself, all in the universe. And as we can feel inside of ourselves that we are connected with all of that, then we won't be wanting to hurt each other or kill each other or pollute the environment, and we can start for the first time in our evolution as human beings to actually honour this planet that we live on and cooperate so we can live together in peace and harmony.
When I was growing up, I felt very alone, I felt very separate, I felt very isolated, and I think that was mirrored by the way I was raised, the environment I was raised in. Things weren't always good, things weren't always positive. So I spent my time trying to figure out who I was and how I fitted into this bigger picture. I spent all my childhood trying to find out why I was here, and if there was a greater picture, a greater reason for why I was here. I wanted to know exactly what it was. I wanted to be in charge of that journey. I didn't want to be led by the nose. And it wasn't really until I spent time outdoors, which was really for me growing up was the only safe place, outdoors away from people, that I really started to notice the ways of the animals. I started to see the animals working together. I saw how there's no such thing as a single entity. They all became part of this bigger picture, and one being supported another being. And so that's my message basically. I'm trying to get people to understand if we don't live like animals, that's not what I mean, but if we live in accordance to the way the animals live, we can reconnect, we can find that connection to all things. We can once again hear the heartbeat of the Earth Mother, or understand that the grandmother we might have been born with isn't our only grandmother, that we also have Grandmother Moon, we have Grandmother Ocean, we have Sister Sky, we have the mountains and the trees and the plants. They're all our brothers and sisters. And the animals to me are the voice of all those things.
I start with emotions. So the emotions that we have within us is always a deeper messenger for what's going on within us. So if we have sadness that comes out, or even, guilt or loss or whatever, regardless of the circumstance that has happened to bring that emotion up, we always really should go within rather than making it about the other person or the circumstance or what have you. And then what happens is we ask ourselves, we say hello and say hi to or acknowledge the emotion. Funnily enough, as soon as we acknowledge the emotion, it actually goes and allows us to go through further self-discovery, and we ask ourselves the question, what are you here to tell me? And what happens is a voice comes through and actually tells you exactly what the emotion was trying to tell you. From there, that answer that comes through is actually the key to what was actually going on in your own subconscious and your own consciousness. From there, you can then find out exactly where that belief or that pattern came from through deeper questioning around, whether it's past life, this life. Even in utero, there's a lot of perceptions that we create within utero, which actually then form our behaviours within this life, and then also in between lives. What decisions do we make, soul contracts, whatever, and then looking at the bigger picture and then actually working out, well, when we do this, what are we actually gaining from souls in bodies having an experience? Because as a soul, we're just floating around in the universe not doing anything. We're actually in these bodies to do something. And that's exactly why things happen.
So I do my own self-discovery the way I've done it for years through meditation, right? But it's also being conscious of whatever it is that I've experienced and been through, owning mistakes, owning, the issues that I've had to face ever since I was a baby, from abandonment to abuse to addictions, all that sort of stuff. But it's facing that, and for me, putting an end to those stories, because my stories are some of my biggest stories where I'm not worthy. What am I doing? I'm not worthy of love and all that sort of stuff. Right? But as you start as I put an end to those stories, I allow myself to shed those layers of ego, because it's ego, shed those layers of pain, of hurt, of all those stories and patterns and circles that I've kept going and keep going and keep going. And that's how I heal and start to own who I am and what I do. And it's an everlasting process. Nobody on the face of this planet is fully healed. Otherwise they wouldn't be here, having this human experience.
I'm evolving. I feel like I'm evolving every minute of the day, because every part of every day is always some sort of discovering of how I'm dealing with things, whether it's good or whether it's bad. We still are evolving. So once my self-discovery is like every single day, I learn, then I can teach others how to deal with the same problems that I may have dealt with in the past.
I think by really remaining authentic to who you are. So rather than being inert, if I have feelings towards something, rather than remaining inert to it, actually sort of acting on it through a way of being, not doing something to be kind of good, or more because that feels right. So being and discovering what authenticity means more and more and more. So really kind of just being me in the best possible way, I think it has a knock-on effect, and you wake up more and more into that, and it's more fun.
My own self-discovery is really important to knowing what is important for me and because it's really easy to trail off onto everybody else's tangents, but coming back to know what I want is really important. So nourishing myself. So for me, meditation, yoga, I'm also a yoga teacher. So for me, yoga is a very important part of my life, but making it an essence of my own and tapping into the elements as well, tapping into the crystalline frequency. So I do a lot of work with the crystals, liquid crystals, obviously my jewelry as well, but it's all about tapping into what feels good to me in that current moment and what feels nurturing. So maybe it's sometimes sitting outside in nature by myself. Sometimes it might be connecting with others and collaborating, and whatever it is that lifts me up will help lift others up.
I get up before the sun rises and I go down to the ocean and I fill myself up. I will listen to usually a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation, and I feel grateful for everything I have, for my family, for my kids. I layer it up, so it can start from something like I have hands and legs and a voice and things, and I layer it up until it brings me into emotion of like I'm tearing up from just gratitude, and then from that space then I can go into, you know, what I dream of doing, and knowing, feeling that I've already got it, and then that's when the magic happens. The rest of the day takes over, and I'm in awe of things because I have no expectations, and it just happens. We're in heaven on earth. That's where we are.
I love for people to really self-discovery who they are inside, and to do that you really learn to master yourself, align yourself with your true values, but also again about growing from and evolving from the spirit that's within, because at the end of the day, you name with a start and an end date. So what are you here for, and what are you going to leave behind? What's the mark you're going to make? Because at the end of the day, we're not here to eat, sleep, work, repeat. We're here to live life. We don't choose a life, we live one.
Oh, I was down at the beach at Currumbin this morning, where the inlet was breaking through for the first time for months. Natural sea high tide broke over the way, as waves over the sandhills opened up the channel, and the flow of new flow came into this kind of lake, tea tree lake. And so my joy was to be with the sense of that actual breakthrough, and then noting in the waters and nature's water. So I felt that was me, it was relative to me, that nature message. And like there was creatures, you could see the fish coming in. Oh, we're in. To go to the place where we'll go under mangrove roots. And there was other creatures, birds coming down, picking up them. I'm going, wow, abundance, it's flow. Abundance and flow. Oh, that will do for me.
I've been in healing my entire life. My father was a healer, so I've seen healing and meditation evolve over the last 40 odd years in Australia. It's come so far, it's so much more accepted, and I find that I can go deeper into my healing when I'm actually helping other people as well. So when we help others, we're also helping ourselves. It's that interconnectedness that helps us discover that. So through really wanting to evolve myself so much more and help other people so much more, that's where the expansion comes for me.
Over the years there's been many things, and I kept ignoring my own self. I kept not believing in my own abilities. And even though I've healed many things, I still self-doubted myself. And it wasn't until I started having time to myself and reflecting and looking upon that I was able to understand what I have and what I'm able to do. And it wasn't until I started talking out loud that I was able to get my soul to hear me and my spirit guides hear me and actually know where I was. Otherwise it just stayed in my head, and it was just messages that I kept telling myself. So verbally, either writing or speaking out loud is really important to help our messages get heard by our guides and spirits to direct us.
Self-discovery for me is a daily practice. Every morning when I wake up, I do a morning ritual that involves gratitude, connecting with the universe, connecting with the deities, the divine and my own divinity, and it really goes from there. And over the day I really make an effort to remain conscious and aware. So if something comes up for me, if I feel irritated or a bit cranky, I ask myself questions. If it's something that I can't answer or move through, then I'll use healing techniques like EFT, I'll use chakra balancing, I'll do a meditation. One of the most powerful healers for me though is actually getting out in nature. I go outside, I put my feet on the ground, I stand in the sun and I take in the healing rays of the sun and bring myself to peace.
These days I feel my own self-discovery is really very much to do with my work, which is service. And I feel I've come to feel that my own soul is one that wants to help others and to help as many people as I possibly can. So as I do that, as I'm able to help people connect with their own souls, who they are, what they're here to do in life, help healing, so to release wounds and to find inner understanding, then people feel more peace, and then that peace radiates outwards to others. And so it gives me a lot of inner satisfaction and peace to help others, to know that I'm bringing joy to others.
I tell you one thing, if you're stuck ever and you're confused or you don't quite know what to do, go outside and sit and ask your mother, the earth, your question, and in a very, very short amount of time, the animals will come to guide you. They just will. And if you sit and be observant and watch and listen with your eyes, not necessarily your ears and your heart, you will understand that those animals have come as messengers of the Earth Mother to help you re-find or reconnect and find your journey again, help you put yourself back on the path. So to me, ultimately, self-discovery comes down to remembering why we're here, who we are, and why we've been plonked on this beautiful blue and green planet in the first place.
The best self-discovery experience that I've ever had is the ability to go into my own subconscious and my own superconsciousness to be able to find out exactly what's going on in there, because half the time we have absolutely no idea. So what I do is I use, again, emotions to find out what's going on in there through triggers. Triggers will allow us to then say, okay, something's going on here, what do I need to know? And then by saying hi to the trigger, allowing that to disappear, so then we can ask more questions. And the answers are always correct, even if initially they don't actually feel true. But as soon as we go into that soul pathway and that soul background as to why we're here and what we're actually doing here, looking at that big picture, we're always given the answer as to why things are happening to us or for us. And from there, what we do is we actually then can see our whole timeline from a soul perspective as to why things happen. And then really, at the end of the day, it doesn't actually make much of a difference because we're just here to experience it and let it go.
The best self-discovery experience that I had, ever had, only occurred in the past month. That was when I chose to face my birth mother, chose to face my adopted father. My mother left when I was 3, and I was adopted when I was 5. So both my parents left me before the age of 4. I spent a lot of time on my own, you know, cruising the streets and everything else. And then I was adopted when I was 5 and into a very, very strict family. So I had to deal with all the abuse and all that sort of stuff. But it was only in the past month that I addressed all of that. So throughout my entire life, I based all my relationships, all my actions, all my thoughts on what had happened to me as a young kid and over the years, you know. Always running away from love, abusing myself, abusing others, and, you know, emotionally and mentally. Putting an end to those stories, and I contacted both my parents and I laid it all on the line. And I said, I wrote them letters from the heart because I said, you know, this is for my healing. I need to do this for myself in order to do the work that I do. All right? And in no way do I blame them. I gave forgiveness. I apologize if I played any part in it. But it was time for me to heal those stories and heal that pain that involved them, because I am worthy, I do love myself, and I'm coming here to do what I've got to do.
Being able to channel, when I channel people that have passed over, I think that's the most important thing. There's so many of them that I have done over the years, and I think giving that back to someone that has felt that grief and that pain for such a long time, and then being able to take it away from them, I think that is so important.
Would be definitely the astral awakening, which just came out of the blue, but that started through meditation. I just always meditated because it felt good, not for a spiritual awakening, but it definitely led, I feel, to a hyper-lucid state. Often I have a being speak to me through the astral, and he seems to know more than I know, and he sounds like my voice. So it's showing itself as my voice speaking through a resonator, and it's like it's my higher self talking to me. He shows me what I am, like I've seen past lives, my own death, and all this sort of stuff. In the same way, my dream state is also waking up. So I have many lucid dreams. In the beginning, in those lucid dreams, I would try to control the dreams, and I realized I was dreaming. Then I would let go of the dreams and realize that there's no drama. So a lot of that is also filtering through into this reality. Once I wake up, once I become lucid in my dream state, I realize in this state I'm becoming more lucid and letting go of the drama, realizing that nothing needs to be added on and that we are everything. And that can sound glib when you just speak it verbally, but when it's sort of a cellular level realization that we have everything we need, this connection to what we truly are, as in even that notion of the Big Bang realization within you, that creative surge of beingness or awareness. So what I'm saying is becoming lucid, I think, is what we're all about. So I think we serve the illusion if we are asleep to it. And when we start to wake up to what we are and within our dreams and in this life, it's like the distraction starts to go away. So personally in my dream state, I'm very conscious of what's happening when I'm falling asleep. I'm seeing myself fall into characters, and I can choose to do that or not often. And when you get into a hyper-aware state during sleep, it's like you're vibrating on a higher level, like you literally are vibrating. And I'm realizing that's what we call gamma frequency, is above the normal beta frequency that we operate in normal day-to-day frequency. So your mind is very alert, it's very singular, it's less fractured. Like in the mortal state, it's kind of a bit fractured. You go into these higher states of consciousness and your intention is realized immediately, even in this realm. Like, it's really amazing to play with. So you can kind of play on this realm with that. So more and more, and not being clever, more and more I just realize that this state of the 3D realm is kind of a fractured state. Where this actually exists because of our higher states, not the other way around. Like my astral body exists, it preempts the human mortal state. So more and more I find I'm inhabiting a higher frequency state, and my physical state is becoming kind of invisible. I'm just less emotionally charged, which enables me, like a knock-on effect, to be existing in these higher states as well. So that's what I call becoming lucid.
I find, to me, traveling and being like going and finding myself out there sometimes can help bring me inwards. And so recently I spent a month in Bali, and that was powerful because it's all about, for me, it was connecting with nature, connecting with the ocean, connecting with the coconut palms, connecting back into yoga as well. And me, so it's like shedding those layers of myself, to find my own light within, remembering that light and coming back into here. This is where it all happens for me, for all of us, and sometimes I find that can get so distracted from all this magic in the world that we forget our own magic. So it's all coming back to our own magic, and that for me is really important, especially when working with crystals.
So through Kundalini awakening, we all have DMT within us, and then we can transcend into another space. So I had an experience where I left my vessel and I went into all colour around me, and when I came back into my vessel and opened my eyes up, I saw everything as fractal of energy everywhere. So the trees were pulsing all these lights off. Everything was the colour was so alive, and then I knew that everything is it's all energy and frequency. So when we know that and we come into our heart space, and then we can pulse it out with love and gratitude of all this creativity that's all around us. Let's live in the moment. So that was incredible.
There's been so many self-discovery experiences for me, and that's changed me as a person. One of my big ones was when my dad passed, and it was a really hard thing for me because it created this vulnerability in me, and I had always been so strong. Through that, I had to realise, and I started to connect so much with him, that I knew that I had to really be who I was and really connect to not just the authenticity, but to connect to life and everything that it involves. So it changed me, and I had to start to realise there was a lot more to life than what was inside the box. So I started to go out there and started to understand, and I couldn't put a lid on this any further. I mean, I grew up with no electricity in the middle of the bush, and you know, what I thought were just like animals and people that had passed over, everybody else just thought they were just normal things. You know, to me, they were a connection to oneness, to everything. So for me, once I started connecting with that and really growing from my father's passing, I realised I couldn't wait any further. Then I was lucky 9 years later that my son was born on the day my dad died 9 years later. So it changed everything for me. And now I just say, be quiet, do as I'm told, because they've got a bigger plan for me. But it's all about self-discovery, and if you can't do that, you're not living life.
Effectively be myself as much as I possibly can, feel that lightness in me, and just as natural as I can. And I get that by being close to nature. I get that by sharing amongst social gathering, kids sharing learnings, trainings, fire makings, walkings in nature with Aboriginal mates of mine, and seeing what the message is, feeling my confirmation about that message, that I'm on the path that is working, that is a good, it's the red path, it's the right path, which are good feeling, the feeling's right. And I share as much as that I can in, you know, my paintings and walkings and tourings and media and expressions.
My deepest healing has come from healing my birth experience. So I was gestated with a lot of sadness because my mother had a lot of sadness in her life, which was actually energetically inherited from her birth mother as well. So I have found the most extraordinary insights and healing have come from healing that birth experience, and also helping to heal my mother's womb and the sadness that she had in there when I was gestating, because she had been adopted, she had adopted a child, and she had so much sadness that I just absorbed this. And I have found over the last 5 years, I have healed a block, like a cement block of sadness that was just crushing me.
I guess the biggest was only a few months ago, where a woman had a soul-to-soul reading and didn't know what nationality she was, and she didn't know herself what her tribal background was, and the message I had to give to her was that she had to go back to her own tribe, which was the Cook Islands area, and take back her knowledge of what she's learnt here in Australia to her own nationality, to I guess evolutionalise their culture. So she didn't know anything about their heritage, yet she had to evolve their heritage in a different way. So to give someone a message that they've got to become an elder in her community that she was born into, that she knows nothing about, is definitely unique.
I know that we all have a story. We all have a belief, an undercurrent, or a core belief or value or pattern that we've been holding on to, a lot of us since childhood. For me, my belief that I've worked with and struggled with for a long time was humiliation. I was humiliated at a young age, and that humiliation, that program has played throughout my life. And it stopped me from doing things, it kept me small, it kept me living in fear, saying no just in case I was humiliated. Even to something like this, I would have gone, oh no, just in case I embarrassed myself and buggered up my words or something like that. Anyway, just the other day I was in a very busy shopping centre, I was in a food court, there was hundreds of people everywhere, and I was juggling bags and food and a phone, texting, not being present at all, rushing, you know. And I dropped the handle off my bag and a bottle fell out and smashed everywhere. Within seconds I heard the collective sound of hundreds of people go, oh. My first reaction was to say a swear word quite loudly, because that's how I roll. And my second reaction was to go, oh, okay. Then someone from a shop came over and she said, you're okay, I'll come and help you. And she grabbed a broom. I very calmly stood there. Here's the thing. In the past, I would have probably died on the spot. I would have run away in embarrassment, and I would have blushed. I would have had all the physical reactions, and then I would have dwelled on it for days about the embarrassment and humiliation of doing something embarrassing in front of hundreds of people. What I did instead was I walked away and went, well, that just happened, and laughed all the way back to my car. It was the most enlightening moment, because I realised how my own self-healing and my own self-discovery has helped me to evolve and get past my stuff.
One of my therapies that I do is Life Between Lives therapy, and that's based on the work of Dr. Michael Newton. And when I was training to become a practitioner of that, I had the privilege of being able to go through one of my own Life Between Lives experiences. One thing which happened for me, which was substantial, was that I became aware that my home is not any one place on this planet, but my home is, you know, being on the whole planet itself, on the Earth. And so since that time, rather than living in any one place, as I was doing then, I've become like a travelling nomad, and I go from place to place to be where I need to be, help who I need to be with, and that lifestyle is much more true to who I am, and I found that it is true, much truer to who I am than the life that I lived before.
So what we do, my wife and I, we run a company called Animal Dreaming Publishing, and through our work we've been able to empower other people to find their voice, to give them the opportunity to be able to reach out into the world and to have their message heard, to find a platform for themselves on which to launch their business or their careers, on their interests or their hobbies, the things that they're passionate about, the things that have given them a sense of purpose.
I actually get people to connect with their emotions, like instead of pushing them down, actually allowing them to bring up, like my clients now actually get excited when they get triggered, and they're like, okay, so acknowledge the trigger and then actually saying, what are you here to tell me about myself? And they find out, it takes us on a little bit of a journey of what's exactly going on in our soul. And for someone to be able to connect to their soul in a human body is actually crazy, that they just automatically go to the bigger picture as to why they're really here. And that's really what I do, is I actually have a sequence of questions and I teach them how they can do that for themselves. So yes, they work with me over a period of time, but then I get them to use this for themselves at home. And by them doing that, they're again empowered to be able to just get their own answers.
How I help others to face their own journey, to face their own healing, is one is through meditation, and two is helping guide them through whatever they may be going through at the time. So just choosing to face those moments where you feel uncomfortable, choosing to face those issues that you've chosen to run from every time. You know, stop blaming, stop pinning it on everybody else. Face it, okay, what's going on for you? How can you move forward? Right, meditation is a key for that because it puts them in that zone of intuition, of higher consciousness, where they can look at things from a greater awareness and go, okay, what can I do to change this situation in order to become that? What can I do to let go of this so that I can be the person that I came here to be?
I am what's known as a medium, which is a communicator of people that are passed over. I help people to connect with their loved ones that are passed over. I bring through validation to let them know that it is in actual fact their loved ones are passed over. Once those specifics come through, then we're on a roll. And these people know through validation that it in fact is their loved ones coming through. The animal communication, the whole animal communication, people just love that. It's communicating with the animals passed over, animals here, whether the animals here are sick or are emotionally unwell or whatever's going on within the animal. And also the animals that are passed over, it's all about validation again. It's all of a sudden, you can almost see the energy, the negative energy disappearing. And when you talk to people about their own self-discovery, and all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, I get it. Light bulb moment. You can almost see this light bulb going off in them. It could just be one very small minor thing that's been holding them back for so long, and about themselves. And once you've removed that, then they start to realize all of a sudden, hey, I'm not such a bad person after all. And you feel that self-love, that self-worth starting to come through, and then the self-discovery. Hey, I'm worth it. And I want to discover myself, and I want to find out about myself, and I want to help people. And you see that all of a sudden coming out in a person, and it's an amazing thing to see.
Well, look, I found ways of accessing the astral realms more readily. I realised that everyone has astral bodies. We are all going astral, it's just waking up in that body. So I think that's one of the reasons I'm here on the planet, and I've been shown that in the astral, is to just help people awaken into that. So I kind of guide people through into exercises and meditations and a way to awaken that higher consciousness.
So one of the ways I help connect others to their own self-discovery is helping them connect with the crystals and their own intuition. One of the most exciting things too is when I'm creating, is when I feel that little spark of energy. Say I'll make a crown and I'll feel a spark of excitement, and I know that it's meant to be for something amazing, and then someone will come in and go, oh, this one, and tell me why they're wearing it, and you can see this whole connection through the universe all colliding together, that whole full oneness, which is amazing. I love it.
I've been a massage therapist for many years. I live in the Whitsundays, and I felt the need that therapists, healers, light workers and not tech savvy or social media people, and there's this big gap where everyone's looking at their phones these days. So I've created a platform called Massage Me Now, and it helps automate sales and marketing for the non-tech savvy industry. In essence, what it does is we help healers be able to be found and booked with these and automate the marketing so the clients are thanked and then ask for 5-star rating, reviews and social shared. So healers can travel the world wherever they want to be, and then they can be booked and be abundantly free to travel and then gain revenue as well. So I aim to help shift the resonance of humanity to a place of love, connection and gratitude.
Growing up in a small town, and not even in the town actually, outside of the town with no electricity, I really had to learn to tap into myself, and I really had to learn the language of spirit from a young age. So now I really love that I can help people to find their inner innocence and also their integrity, and it's such an important thing. So I love to help people. I write books, I love going out and meeting people, and I love touring and just really teaching people to look for the spirit within, and knowing that they don't need the answers around them, they just have to look within and really trust on that.
Tuning into people closely, their vision of their soul comes through. You watch and I listen and I feel, and there's a sense of them gradually allowing that to come through. Their movements become relaxed, they start just pensively, some girls start doing twirl hair stuff, and you get that they're going into other places where they're not defensive. They just let it be honestly who they are. So I share with that in nature, and I also paint them with my sensory body art readings, with the crystals, aromatherapy, and the symbols. And it relates to them when we're chatting those symbols. Like, for instance, the water hole I just painted on a lady just before, which was about the coming together of community. And other creatures, beings all gather around the water. When the water's a bit scarce, you go to the water hole. She was saying that and feeling, yes, come on, let's get together, let's collaborate, let's share, let's kind of like integrate this magic and show that it's possible to kind of communicate fully in this kind of like sharing way.
Finding the emotion that is sitting in their biofield or their aura that surrounds the body. So that is actually our memory. The aura is our memory. That's where we store our emotions. Every experience will have that emotion attached to it, whether it's sadness, grief, loss, joy, elation. It doesn't matter what it is. It sits in our biofield as a memory. So what I do is I tune into that vibration. Every emotion is a vibration. I use drums or tuning forks or a different musical instrument to match that vibration. And through the drumming or the beating, whatever it is, we can match that and we can move that vibration, that emotion along back to the natural soul tone of the client, and that helps bring ease. So they're not going back then and attaching in similar situations to that emotion that's sitting there. So that's why people self-sabotage. That's why they can't move forward. That's why they're stuck. That's why they feel that they can't actually achieve the things that they want to or find their soul purpose, because it's like they've got all these blocks sitting in the biofield, in these memories, and the sound healing helps to balance those so that they can get back there and they can live the purpose that they want to.
I look at them as triggers and blocks and how things in life guide us to who we are and who we want to be. And I give them awareness about the things that keep happening. They're like pattern behaviour or whatever they are. They keep cycling and they keep happening. And if people don't take aware of what they are, then they need people like me to tell them, look, this is the issue that you've got. But I also give them tools and strategies specifically for that so they can break out of that cycle that they get stuck in.
I use a lot of my own experiences. Other than the fact that I practice healing techniques myself. I use theta healing, chakra balancing, energy healing, a lot of magic. I weave a lot of magic in through what I do. But a lot of the time I use my own experiences to recognise beliefs and patterns in other people, or help them to discover those beliefs and patterns and help them to move past them. So using all those modalities, I help them to shift their beliefs and change negative behaviours and patterns for the better, so that they can evolve and live their happiest, wonderfulest, magical selves.
I have different forms of work that I do, but basically I work through hypnosis and I work through guided meditation, helping people to become aware of what's in their own inner consciousness, whether that be through past lives or opening up to the spiritual realm of their own consciousness, meeting guides, and healing, so helping people to overcome distortions that are inside of them, impacting on how they live their lives, and just basically helping people to awaken to who they are as souls. So that's the essence of my work, and I work with lots of people. So at festivals like this, I offer short introductory sessions which can be very profound for people, but perhaps with people that have never done anything like this before, helping them find that they have an inner life which actually is very precious and matters, and where they can feel a release of energy to be connected with their own self-love, can make a huge difference.
Well, that was certainly a magical experience. What amazing sharing and high vibe intentions we've heard from all our beautiful souls today. So I encourage you to tune in, discover yourself, and reach out for help if you need some. The high vibe path is open to all of us if we take that first step.
Go.
Yeah, read.
Thank you.